This essay example, as well as thousands of others, is available in text format on our website for free and without registration. Simply Google Ivy Panda Free Essays.
Introduction. Smoking cigarettes has proved to be a fatal practice not only for active smokers but, most importantly, for passive ones. Passive smokers inhale the smoke that is exhaled by others as they smoke or through tobacco ignition. Smoking bans are guidelines and regulations which limit smoking in public areas. Public places are therefore marked as smoke-free zones, which emphasize the environmental and health hazards that smoking poses even with limited exposure. However, individuals have a right to choose whether or not to smoke cigarettes, but it is not fair if they do it at the expense of others who become passive smokers and are at a similar risk as direct smokers. It is the role of governments and health institutions to safeguard the public's health by regulating drug use and abuse cases such as tobacco smoking. Safety measures are considered to enhance the public health of passive and active smokers. For instance, some nations have taken into consideration the aspect of personal freedom and have chosen to segregate specific ventilated areas designated for smokers, while others have gone to the extreme of being abolitionists by imposing a total ban on cigarette smoking. Cigarette smoking is not only implicated with public health due to its carcinogenic nature and chemical additives, but also has proven to be costly and degrading to societal values, hence, it should be banned. Smoking cigarettes proves to cause many deaths in the world as a result of health-related issues such as, e.g., coronary impairment, obesity, emphysema, infant defects, lung cancer, and respiratory illnesses. In the United States alone, the Environmental Protection Agency asserts that secondhand smoking leads to over 3,000 fatalities from lung cancer and 37,000 deaths as a result of heart ailments. Cigarette smoking as a cause of illnesses and premature deaths become the first preventable cause to be controlled through imposing bans. Cigarettes have nicotine, which is responsible for addiction and is attributed to coronary illnesses and nerve impairment, hence declining people's life expectancy. Cigarettes contain various chemical substances that are toxic and carcinogenic. Regular smoking predisposes an individual to 20 times the chance of acquiring lung cancer. In addition, it triggers the production of stomach acid, which causes an individual to acquire ulcers and other stomach illnesses such as cancer. It is notable that smoking destroys blood vessels and vital organs such as the heart, which predisposes smokers to stroke and cardiac illnesses. Besides, the World Health Organization points out that the use of tobacco causes health problems, addiction, and deaths and, most importantly, accelerates impoverishment, particularly in African countries where great expenses are incurred in the management and treatment of these health issues. World Health Organization, therefore, ensures that the availability of tobacco is restricted by reducing its supply and demand. In addition, cigarette smoking has proven to be expensive to individuals who have to pay high taxes to acquire them. This affects their income as they strain to get more to cater for cigarettes. As pointed out, in Kenya, it takes an average of 2 hours and 40 minutes to earn enough to buy a packet of imported cigarettes, while in the United Kingdom, it takes just 40 minutes. Various Western nations have banned tobacco smoking and advertising, and now many manufacturers have drifted attention to African nations. However, African nations have also become aware of these issues, and therefore, the previous years saw Tanzania banning tobacco smoking in its public settings. In other instances, smoking may cause accidental fires, which results in great losses that need to be catered for, hence, a lot of money is spent on cigarette-related claims. Cigarettes hurt the economy through financial costs, declined life expectancy, and, therefore, reduction of the pool of available labor force. The tobacco industry uses $11 billion per annum to market cigarettes through advertisement strategies. The FDA aims to curb deceptive advertisements and requires explicit labeling on packages alerting on hazards arising from smoking cigarettes, such as addiction to nicotine, which is even reinforced with additives to enhance its addiction. The social use of cigarettes can be implicated in marketing strategies employed by various tobacco firms. The American Tobacco Company, for instance, previously engaged in aggressive advertising that saw an increasing number of smokers. These stylish displays in shops and media adverts, which associate smoking with sophistication, the elite, and loyalty, cause the rise in the use of cigarettes. Cigarette smoking, therefore, has become socially acceptable due to misleading advertisements targeted especially at the youth. As a result, a ban is essential in drifting social norms of being tolerant of smoking in day-to-day life. Ban is imposed through tax measures, establishing awareness programs, creation of policies, and termination initiatives geared at guiding human behavior through controlled smoking, hence facilitating public health. Lawyers in the United States are aware of the health implications achieved by cigarette smoking, although they emphasize that the smoker should bear the burden and not the tobacco industry. It has therefore required that the manufacturer label a warning on the risks of smoking, avoid deceptive advertisements, and create public awareness of statistical facts emanating from smoking. However, lawyers insist that the tobacco companies bear no liabilities for the risks of smoking since it is a personal choice. Some point out that there should be a ban, while others assert that imposing a ban is unconstitutional and alternative measures should be considered. However, when deaths arise from smoking cigarettes, families are left to suffer and become overburdened, and poverty strikes them. Tobacco-related fatalities and medical realities are, however, instigating fears in a society that has embraced the consumption of tobacco as a social norm. Smoking is done for the social motive of trying to fit in with peers or other social groups. Conclusion. The rationale for imposing tobacco bans is based on the concept that smoking is elective while breathing is a must for all humans. Bans imposed by governmental bodies are meant to safeguard passive smokers from health risks, although they might not be legitimate since they infringe on people's privacy. Legislations have been set by many nations based on scientific medical facts, which assert that tobacco smoking is dangerous to users and secondhand smokers. Ban on tobacco smoking has resulted in a decline in the number of smokers as the world is sensitized to the consequences incurred on May 31st. The World Health Organization has facilitated the creation of public awareness of the risks of cigarette smoking, including its contribution to poverty as nations pursue healthcare. Other suggestions for smoking cigarettes include the use of smoke-free tobacco, SFT, which involves snuffing or chewing, and the use of low-tar products, which are equally harmful as smoking. Self-interest is the main determinant in dictating the approach towards smoking bans and is often the main cause of controversies. Although it has been noted that many people depend on tobacco industries for exports and employment opportunities to earn then a living while governments use taxes levied on cigarettes for infrastructural development, the risks that arise from cigarette smoking outweigh the advantages and, therefore, should be banned. This essay on smoking cigarettes should be banned was written and submitted by a student just like you. The Ivy Panda Samples database hosts thousands of works similar to this one on various subjects. Visit ivypanda.com to find what you are looking for, free of charge.